Greetings from Costa Rica. Let's talk about water. Today, in just 10 minutes, I'm going to go over both the legal and construction side of water and the practical, everyday side of water in Costa Rica when it comes to paying your bill and living here. If you're considering moving to this beautiful country, do be sure to subscribe to my channel. It's absolutely free, and I provide hours of sometimes boring information about moving to paradise. Let's get on to the topic of water in Costa Rica, and especially for the people who have been looking at Guanacaste as a potential destination for retirement. You've heard that water availability and legal water availability for construction is extremely complicated. There would be no way for me to address the different situation of every community in Guanacaste, but suffice it to say that if you're considering purchasing a property in this province, you need to be absolutely sure that you have clear legal guidance and assurances as to your access. That legal water access will be provided locally by an organization that is called an ASADA, A-S-A-D-A, which is an acronym for a long Spanish word that essentially means the Community Water and Sewers Association, although really there aren't sewers in most communities. These ASADAs are community elected committees that control the resource within a certain area, and they're extremely important in Costa Rica because they are the ones that can issue a promise or a water availability letter guaranteeing that they will provide water service for a construction site. That water availability letter, their legal commitment to give a certain service to a property, is one of the single most important due diligence requirements that you should be obtaining during the process of purchasing a property here in Costa Rica. Now, obviously, if something has already been built and you have an existing construction permit that's been located for that structure, you know that you also have legal water availability because the property would have needed it originally for the construction permit. If, however, you are buying an undeveloped lot, you will need this letter to guarantee your service in order to 100% ensure that you're making the right investment. Nationally, water is controlled by Costa Rica's ministry called AYA, which is another acronym essentially for the Ministry also of Water and Sewers. AYA has overarching control of the local community ASADAs. AYA, as it's said, is a ministry that can tell them you are currently not allowed to give new water access based on their understanding of the water situation. In some communities, AYA is also directly administering water resources. You would see that in larger areas like Playa Tamarindo. There is an AYA administered water system, or in other larger communities, especially the Central Valley of Costa Rica. The national ministry there is replacing ASADAs as the entity that administers the water. Now let's talk about the logistics of your water bill if you're buying property here in Costa Rica. One of the wonderful things about the country's community setups for these local utility providers is that they can offer some very easy ways to pay your water bill. Many communities that have 1,000 or more people will actually have an office for their ASADA, again, which is the community committee that administers and bills the water. That ASADA office will often have restricted hours or only be open a few times a week, but you can pay your water directly there, usually with a community member who works for the ASADA itself. If you have a bank account here in Costa Rica with one of the major national banks, it is possible to pay your water bills with online banking. However, recently it has been more and more difficult for foreigners to be able to get online banking through those accounts. There are also, thankfully, a million ways for you to pay your water bill locally. There are supermarkets that have little points of sale where they can process payments for water bills in their community. All kinds of stores might have that little option for you to be able to pay your water bill. And more than anything, if you own property in Costa Rica and you're being helped by a property manager or even somebody locally who's cleaning the home for you, usually you can ask them to pay your water bill, and it should be something they can easily handle as part of managing your property. Finally, let's talk about the amount your water bill might be. And obviously, this will vary from situation to situation, and you can't give an easy answer to this question. But let's start with a single condo, 2-bedroom, 2-bath. Because of the way that water is priced in Costa Rica, you'd find that the usage for a single residential unit is going to have an extremely low monthly bill. That's a system that's set up to also make water prices accessible to local Costa Rican families so it doesn't break their bank. I'm talking about $7 or $8 for the amount of water that you would need for 2 people, or even 4 or 6 to shower and wash dishes all month long inside a 2-bed condo or a small home. Now obviously things start to go up from there as we talk about irrigation and other uses for water. It's important to note first and foremost that in most ASADAs in Guanacaste, the water of the community is not supposed to be used for irrigation to begin with, but you do see a lot of people keeping gardens watered using that public water source. And if people go crazy with that irrigation, a half-acre property with lawn space, maybe even a small pool, and a ton of green gardens can cost upwards of $75 to $100 a month in a water bill for even that smaller property. Obviously, larger ones can go up from there. Creating a landscape that doesn't require too much irrigation is a great way to adapt to living in Guanacaste, Costa Rica. My next video on electricity is available here. Click to learn more.